Good day to all subscribers and casual viewers. On my Russian channel, I showed how to build a very interesting type of perimeter walkway and drainage strip using concrete stones. That video gained more than 2.5 million views, and the idea itself became widely popular across the internet. As of today, the drainage strip is performing perfectly. The downspout from the old building discharges water directly onto the walkway, and I intentionally did not move it to see how the system would behave. Over 2 years, not a single curb or stone has shifted from its place. That's why I decided to repeat the same technology for the drainage strip along the side of the workshop, next to the fence. I'll also briefly explain why a perimeter drainage strip is needed around buildings. Rainwater flows down the walls. At the back, the downspout sticks out a bit and drains water into one spot, but along the side and front walls of any building, water runs down, reaches the drip edge, and then flows directly to the base of the foundation. This causes the soil to be washed out, and sooner or later the foundation can start to settle. The goal here is to move water away from the foundation and beyond its perimeter. I will make the drainage strip 1 meter wide. We start by marking it with a string line, 1 meter wide, and along the full length of the building. The next step is to excavate the soil. I will dig to a depth of 25 centimeters, and then we'll prepare proper water drainage away from the foundation. The excavation is now ready. All topsoil has been removed and you can already see sand underneath. Everything is leveled. The side walls, front and back. There is some concrete from a post here, but that's not an issue. We'll work around it. The next step is to create the slope using sand. We need the water to flow away from the foundation, so we prepare the base using sand. The slope should be 5 centimeters per meter. Since our width is exactly 1 meter, we add about 5 centimeters of sand on the far side and about 10 centimeters closer to the foundation, then water it and compact it. This creates the correct slope away from the foundation. Using a bubble level, you can clearly see that over 1 meter, we have roughly a 5 centimeter drop. For waterproofing the drainage strip, I'm using planter Geo. I also used it for a stone walkway, and after 2 years and 2 winters, there have been absolutely no issues. Planter Geo is a waterproofing membrane for drainage strips or garden paths. It's made of high-density polyethylene with dimples, and a high-quality geotextile is thermally bonded on top. The geotextile allows water to pass through but prevents dirt and debris from clogging the dimples, so water flows freely. First, after measuring, I cut the geotextile along the full length. The plastic membrane itself is cut slightly shorter so that the geotextile can wrap up the sides. Both the membrane and the geotextile are easily cut with a utility knife. The overlap should be at least 4 dimples. We press the dimples together, aligning them and locking them into each other. This joint must then be sealed with the tape. We remove the protective film and apply the tape along the seam. The geotextile also needs to be connected. I do this using high-quality double-sided tape. Now we install the entire sheet. We assembled it separately. It could have been done directly in the trench, but since the section is small, it's more convenient to prepare it first and then install it as one piece. The base is now ready. Let me remind you that on the sides we only have geotextile, while the polyethylene membrane is only at the bottom. Water flows along the membrane and then passes through the geotextile into the soil. The next step is to backfill everything with sand. Around the perimeter, I will use a plastic garden edging. This is how it looks in cross-section, about 1 centimeter for the top rounded edge and around 10 centimeters below ground. It has these anchor tabs at the bottom and is very easy to install. You simply set it in place and secure it. The original branded fasteners for this edging are ridiculously expensive, but there's a much simpler and cheaper solution: roofing nails. They cost next to nothing. I'll secure the edging every 30 to 40 centimeters using these nails, and everything installs very easily. Next, we backfill sand up to almost the full height, leaving about 5 centimeters to the top of the edging. At this point, the sand is at the planned level, with about 5 centimeters remaining to the top of the border, and now everything needs to be compacted. After thoroughly compacting the sand, we install a layer of geotextile on top. The concept with the slabs is as follows. We install them at set intervals and fill the remaining space with white tumbled marble gravel. It's going to look fantastic. And as it often happens, trouble comes when you least expect it. I rented a tile cutter and was told it cuts perfectly. I needed to make 3 cuts. The tiles are 600 by 600 millimeters, and I needed to cut them in half to get 300 by 600 millimeter pieces. All 3 tiles cracked. I returned the cutter and explained the situation. They said everything was fine and that people use it all the time. The guy even tried cutting his own sample tiles, and they cracked as well. No problem though. A good old angle grinder with a stone cutting disc solved the issue. It took a bit more time, but nothing critical. I searched for one missing tile for 2 days and could barely find it. It was sold out everywhere in the city, but today I finally found it, so I can finish the job. We made a formwork from XPS insulation boards. Inside, we lined it with tape so that after pouring the cement and once it cures, the formwork can be removed easily. The tape is 5 centimeters wide, the insulation board is 6 centimeters thick, and the tile itself is 9 millimeters thick. As a result, the finished slab thickness together with the tile will be about 6 centimeters. We install the formwork, press it in place with screws, and then pour the cement. The mix ratio is 1 part cement to 2 parts sand. After 24 hours, the formwork can be removed. These are the slabs we ended up with, about 6 centimeters thick, very strong and durable. Now we installed them onto the walkway. This is also a great option, for example, if you have a flat, well-maintained lawn and want to create an original pathway. You can cast these slabs with any surface texture, is smooth or textured for slip resistance. I'm not planning to walk here much in winter, so I chose this texture. You can simply place them directly on the lawn without digging anything out, and the result looks great. As I mentioned earlier, the entire space between the shrubs and the fence will be filled with mulch. Mulch is essentially pine bark, available in different sizes: fine, medium, and coarse. I bought both fine and medium fractions. This is roughly what the medium fraction looks like. It will go on top with the fine bark underneath. Here's a useful tip on how to get this bark cheaper. In garden centers, it costs about 3 times more than what I paid, and in some cases, you can even get it for free. You can source it from sawmills. It's essentially waste material from wood processing. At one sawmill where I bought lumber for an outbuilding, I asked if I could collect some. They said, "Come and take it for free." No issues at all, though driving there would cost more in fuel than the bark itself. Maybe next time I'll load up the whole trunk. You can also find it through classifieds, usually about half the price of large commercial bags. In big stores, it's quite expensive. Now we spread the mulch across the entire area. Between the slabs, we'll add tumbled marble gravel, the type with rounded edges. I used a 20 to 50 millimeter fraction. And this is how it looks in the end. Unfortunately, I couldn't find enough of the brighter white gravel. There were only 4 bags available. I took 3 and will pick up the 4th one later. I think adding one more 20-kilogram bag will make it perfect. That's all for today. Subscribe to the channel and don't forget to turn on notifications because YouTube likely won't show you new videos otherwise, even if you're subscribed. If you have constructive criticism or suggestions, leave them in the comments. I'll try to respond to everyone.